Zhu Jun accepted great missions for his talents as a military commander when the empire was at risk. He achieved military feats and eventual triumphs, and thus earned great prominence in the country. When the weak emperor was badly treated and ambitious rebels were rampant, it was truly the right time for heroes to stake their lives and rise. He proved his merit during the Xiaoji rebellion and fighting against the Yellow Turbans, whereafter he became respected and admired for his time. His modest nature and attachment for heroic traits meant he was well liked by the public. His birth date should be around the late 140s, and he was from Shangyu County, Guanghe Commandery. He lost his father when he was young, so he was raised by his mother, who earned a living selling fabric. He was generous when he helped the locals of his hometown, so they grew to respect him. Upon reaching adulthood, he worked as a scribe in the local county office, and was promoted to be the gatekeeper of Guanghe. When his acquaintance, Shou was summoned to work in the government, he took out a massive loan for clothing, but was unable to repay his debts to the local authorities. Zhu Jun stole fabrics from his mother in order to settle the affair and solve the problem for Zhou Gai. This caused his mother to eventually lose her property. Greatly angered, she blamed Zhu Jun, but he replied, "Small losses will result in great fortunes later. To be poor first before becoming rich is the natural order." The chief of the county grew to favour him, so recommended him to serve in the commandery office under Wei Yi, the administrator of Guanghe. He undertook this role for years, during which Wei Yi was replaced by Yin Duan. In 173, Yin was impeached for his failure in quelling a rebellion, where his punishment was to be executed. Zhu Jun put on ragged clothes and carried a few hundred taels of copper along a shortcut to the capital. He made his way to the offices and bribed the relevant officials to alter the content of the documents submitted by the province, and hence reduce the punishment. Yin Duan was overjoyed when he heard of his reduced sentence but did not know why. Zhu Jun never revealed his involvement in the matter to Yin. His successor, Shou further nominated Zhu Jun as a Xiaolian, after which the Han central government appointed him as the prefect of Ling County. For a long time, the Wuhu barbarians had been making trouble in Xiaoji Commandery, and the local officials could do nothing to stop them. They sparked a rebellion against the Han in Heipu and Xiaoji, then spread their revolt to attract all non-Chinese ethnic groups. Liang Long, nicknamed Dragon Liang, was their leader, and probably a chieftain of the Wuhu. He controlled more than 10,000 men across the far south of the region, whose ranks were bolstered by the administrators of Kangwu and Nanhai commanderies. In February of 178, Zhu Jun was appointed as the inspector of Xiaoji Commandery, with authority to recruit soldiers from his household guards and his hometown. He raised 5,000 troops, including those sent by the capital, then divided them into two groups and headed south. They stopped at the border, then sent spies across to assess the situation. They performed reconnaissance and propaganda of the imperial might and virtues so as to sway the minds of the rebels. When he was ready to advance into the territory, he first killed Chen Shou, then called upon the loyal troops to support his advance. Within a few weeks of asserting his authority on the area, many local officials became encouraged and turned to him for help. Many insurgents surrendered, and Ling Long was eventually found and beheaded. The entire commandery was recaptured within 1 month. For his good work, Zhu Jun was made a marquis of a chief village. Then he travelled to the imperial capital to serve as a councillor remonstrant. Just 6 years later, the Yellow Turban Rebellion broke out, where its leader Zhang Shui had set up 36 divisions before his attack on the Han. There were either small divisions with 6,000 or 7,000 men, or large divisions with over 10,000 men. Each division leader would appoint a local leader, sometimes translated as a bandit leader or gang leader, to command a selected troop of his army. Zhu Jun was recommended by many court officials for his talents and competency. General of the right, Zhu Jun, and General of the left, Huan Song, held the staff of authority to lead the 40,000 imperial forces. Liu Ji went for Zhang Shui's base in Ji province, whilst Huan Song and Zhu Jun headed for Yingchuan Commandery. Bowtai's rebels in Runan drove Zhu Jun's forces away and pushed him back. The Han court sent the young officer Cao Cao as reinforcements, then together with Huan Song they defeated the rebels. Zhu Jun pursued Bowtai as he attempted to flee, then defeated him again, causing the rebels to scatter. They attacked rebels in Yingchuan, Runan and Chen state and suppressed all of them. Huan Song attributed the victories to Zhu Jun, thus his noble title advanced even further. After they defeated a few more divisions of Yellow Turbans and received rewards, they were ordered by the central government to split up. Zhu Jun marched for Nanyang to relieve its capital Wancheng from rebel occupation. The self-declared messenger of the gods, Zhang Mancheng, had slain the city's administrator, then sat his 10,000 men at the foot of the gate for more than 100 days. He was killed before Zhu Jun's reinforcements arrived, so Zhao Hong became the new rebel leader. Their numbers gradually increased to more than 100,000, then they swarmed over and seized Huan city. When Zhu Jun arrived, he combined his forces of Xinji to muster an 18,000 strong army, then laid siege to Zhao Hong. Their encirclement lasted for around 2 months, but the city still stood strong. Some government leaders wanted to summon Zhu back to court, but Zhang Wen wrote in his defense, saying, "All the military writers caution against changing generals in the middle of a campaign. Your Majesty, we must wait for days or even months, but in the end he will produce results." With the court officials off his back, Zhu Jun decided to accelerate his operation by targeting Zhao Hong and quickly had him killed in combat. Han Zhong took over from the remaining rebels, then continued command over Wancheng as the outnumbered imperial troops still failed to capture the city. Zhu Jun ordered for defensive positions with a round barrier wall and bastions to protect against attacks. Then man-made hills were piled up so they could observe the interior status of the city. He ordered for a feint attack on the southwest side as he led his 5,000 crack troops to infiltrate the city from the northeast side. Upon infiltration, Han Zhong became terrified and holed himself up in the citadel where he begged for his life. Many of the subordinates agreed with this, but Zhu Jun said, "When it comes to military strategy, there are situations that appear to have similar forms, but their momentums differ. When the world is torn, warlords are offered incentives to join forces, but today the empire is whole, and only the yellow turbans betray us. If we accept their surrender, it only encourages more disobedience. If we suppress them, it is enough for us to punish evil. They would launch attacks against us when it favours them, and beg us for surrender when they encounter defeats. Tolerance for the rebels means encouragement for them, and that is not a good idea." Zhu Jun continued his hasty offensive, but still failed to achieve victory after a series of battles. He climbed on top of the hill for observation. Turning his face, he said to his men, "I know it now. Now the rebels have a tight siege ring around them, its interior must be in tension. They asked to surrender, and we refused. That is why they fight us so hard. When 10,000 people share the same will, they are unstoppable, let alone a case where there are 100,000 of them. A forcible offensive could be very terrible. It's better that we lift our siege and assemble all our forces to enter the city. When Han Zhong realizes that the siege is lifted, he will definitely lead his men out. When he comes out from his defenses, he'll be less vigilant. That's the easy way to destroy him." Zhu Jun withdrew his army away from the city to lure him out. He fell for the ruse and lost a coming battle, then tried to flee north whilst 10,000 of his men were slaughtered by imperial forces. He desperately tried to surrender when he was later captured but was executed. The next year, Zhu Jun attacked the remnants of this Yellow Turban division, causing them to disperse, which succeeded in restoring peace in Nanyang Commandery. By now, the rebellion had mostly been suppressed due to Zhu Jun's recapture of Wancheng and Huangfu Song's victories over the Zhang brothers in Ji. Huangfu Song didn't attribute the success of his victories to himself, instead giving credit to Liu Ji and Zhu Jun. Zhu Jun suppressed the rebels thrice. As a serious man with great respect for the imperial orders, he underwent many difficulties, but did not change his noble character. He returned to the capital to receive his rewards and promotions, but he soon learned that his mother had passed away, so he returned home to perform his filial mourning period. When he returned to office, he was reassigned to be the minister coachman and minister steward, but Zhang Yan and his Heishan bandits soon raided Heinei Commandery. With Luo Yang under threat, Zhu Jun was elevated to be the commandery's administrator, then the central government ordered him to lead troops to defeat the bandits. He took his private forces and successfully defeated the Black Mountain bandits. After his mission, he subsequently held the following appointments: Household Councillor, Colonel of the City Gates, and Intendant of Hainan. The threats to his beloved Han dynasty would not relent, however, as in 189 Dong Zhuo took advantage of the political turmoil and seized Luo Yang and the emperor for himself. He pretended to trust the veteran Zhu Jun, but was actually very jealous. Dong Zhuo was scared whenever the forces of the east were strong. He convened several meetings to discuss a motion to relocate the capital, but each time Zhu Jun would stop him. Even though he detested Zhu Jun for his dissent, he desired to exploit his reputation by having him promoted to a deputy under Dong Zhuo himself. The court envoy declared this to Zhu Jun, who declined the position, then said, "If the capital moves westwards, the imperial government would disappoint the people, and that would spell a woe for the region to the east of the Hangu Pass. I think the plan is infeasible. I asked your excellency about the promotion but you refused. I never asked anything about the capital relocation but you mentioned it. Why? I'm not the right candidate for the post of Vice-Chancellor. Capital relocation is not an urgent matter. It's right for me to decline a promotion to a post for which I'm not competent, and not saying anything about it that is not urgent. I've not heard of the plan of capital relocation. Even if there is such a plan, the court has not released it. Where did you get the information? Chancellor Dong told me all the details. That's why I know it well. Dong Zhuo left for Hangu Pass and left Zhu Jun in charge at Luoyang. He maintained contact with the regional warlords and agreed to be their planted spy as he conspired together with them. He grew to fear that his position was not secure, however, so he gave up his official post and fled to Jing province. When he received message that Yang Yi had been appointed to guard Luoyang, he led his men to drive the traitor out of the ruined city. Yang Yi fled when he heard that Zhu Jun was on his way, but the latter knew he could not feed his army in the war-torn Hainan, so he moved to a garrison at Zhongmu County instead. From here, he announced an official call to arms to provinces and commanderies, begging garrisons to wage war on Dong Zhuo. He asked the various regional warlords for their help in a campaign further west, and Dao Xian responded. He sent 3,000 elite troops to assist, and also recommended that he was promoted, whilst the other areas also made their contributions moderately. When Dong Zhuo became aware of this, he sent Li Jue and Guo Si with 10,000 men to guard Hainan and resist Zhu Jun. Zhu Jun launched a counterattack but was defeated in battle, so he remained in Zhongmu. Knowing that he could by no means defeat the pair, he stayed at the foot of the pass and dared not to go any further. He stationed here throughout the turmoil at Chang'an until the emperor fell into the hands of Li Jue and Guo Si. Dao Xian believed that Zhu was a prominent official with many military feats and a reliable man who could tackle important affairs. He urged the other warlords to name Zhu Jun as the highest ranking role of the three excellencies, the Grand Tutor, to lead the other warlords to rescue the emperor. Li Jue and Guo Si also tried to win him over at the same time, by taking the advice of Jia Shu to summon him. They wrote ordering him to return to Chang'an and serve as the minister coachman, so even though Zhu Jun knew it was a trick, he went along anyway because it was written in the emperor's name. The officers and soldiers in Zhu Jun's ranks were afraid to enter through the pass, and wanted to leave to join Dao Xian and his fellows. Zhu Jun said, when a subject is summoned in the name of the monarch, he is obliged to go immediately, even without waiting for a coach, let alone by the edict of the emperor. Li Jue and Guo Si are just small villains, whilst Fan Chao is a mediocre person without insightful vision. These people are equally powerful, so there must be chaos. If I could exploit their negligence to take a sudden strike, I can succeed. In July of 193, he replaced Zhou Yu's uncle as a Grand Commandant, whilst he also held additional appointments. He was stripped of his posts, however, in the next autumn, due to the solar eclipse. Eventually, in 195, he was reassigned to guard Hang Pass, but before he left, Li Jue assassinated Fan Chao, so Guo Si feared he could be next. Their factions started attacking each other in the streets, so Zhu Jun remained in the city waiting for his chance. The emperor issued an edict where 10 men including Zhu Jun were ordered to persuade Guo Si to make peace, but they were taken hostage when they arrived. Guo Si wanted to use the imperial subjects as leverage against Li Jue, who had taken the emperor hostage. Zhu Jun died of illness a few days later as he could not stand the humiliation of becoming a helpless prisoner. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you next time.